Welcome everybody back to Permadirt and Friends Reviews. Due to popular demand, we are back. We are back for season 2. Well, maybe not popular demand.
I was gonna
Based
say.
on our own demand, we are back for season 2, episode 1 today of The Last of Us HBO series. As always, not as always, as we did last time, we brought back Poka, we brought back Ostrich. They are back. They are still alive. I don't know if that was a question anybody had, but if it was, they are.
We here.
You guys want to say something to the crowds out there, to the tens of people who will see it?
Man, I'm just happy to be here. I'm glad that they released another season, so we have a reason to talk about it. So,
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna do here, if you haven't been here before, actually, we haven't even really talked about this. Maybe this is something we talked about before we started. Are we bringing future spoilers into this, or are we just talking about the thing today, going no further?
I think
Like-
we can allude to it, but without spoiling it, would be the best.
So you want alluding?
Like I don't know. I just have, I'm not gonna mention anything explicitly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What do you think there, Ostrich?
I think I'm gonna try and keep it as spoiler free as I can, especially because I think that, well, I haven't beaten the game, just so everyone knows that. So I don't know what happens in the very end. But I mean, like a pretty major event, I feel is going to come sooner rather than is later. So
Yeah.
I'm going to try to keep that one under wraps until it happens.
I think I'm kind of in your camp. I think we should try and keep it spoiler free. I think it'll be tough, and I know it's a bit different this time too, because again, people have had years to play this game. And I think the most people who are the few randoms that are actually going to check this out probably have played the game, probably, maybe. But we'll try and keep it spoiler free just to make sure. Anyway, I think so. 2v1 against Poka. May he forever recognize our democracy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was just saying I wasn't gonna spoil anything.
No, I know. But even maybe just be careful what you allude to. I mean, it is going to be tough talking about some of the things that have changed.
Oh yeah.
Without, knowing some of the stuff that's coming up. So I get there's part of it, but we'll do our best to keep this spoiler free so that everyone can enjoy it. I knew there's a few people I talked to that are watching the show. Actually, it's surprising. I talk with people at work about this, and I got a few people hooked on the show from season 1, and they've never played a game before in their life. So, I mean, they do exist. They do exist.
They're out there.
They're out there. We'll find them. We'll get them some sweet console or something to play it on. All right, this one, I believe, and I haven't looked up everything for. I believe, what's his name, Mason, has was in charge of writing this whole sort of adapting this whole season. I believe he has the writing credits for it. It was 57 minutes, 57 and change. And I think he was also in charge of directing this one. I think he was the director, which he did a bunch for the first season. Sorry, he did probably 6 of them, or maybe 5 of them. He was the majority of them, if I'm recalling. This is all just me recalling on the spot. If I'm wrong, you can correct me down in the comments, people. But I didn't look that stuff up, so I'm gonna guess. I remember looking in the beginning and seeing directed by and all this stuff by him.
There you go.
Maybe one of you can fact check me as we go here. But
Amazing.
all right, so he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what okay, so as we normally do here, we're gonna go through a little review. Hopefully we can cut through this stuff pretty quick. I'm gonna try this season, due to popular demand, trying to keep the point by point stuff maybe a little shorter. So that we're not dealing with an hour of just me going through the episode.
That's as long as the episode.
Yeah, exactly. You must just go watch it then at that point. I just kidding, but then you wouldn't get our expertise and our brains, which is huge, which is why you're here. Okay, so this season starts basically right off where we left season 1. I think they got the scene in season 1, right? The scene of him of Ellie talking to Joel. Is that where we ended the season 1?
I think
just like the video game.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I think the season 1 ended with them clip-clopping away on that horse, and that was kind of the end of it. So,
yeah, there's this infamous question that I say infamous because those people who are really into the show are really into the video games. This was a major form of discourse. Was the question at the end where Ellie is talking to Joel and asks, like what happened. Basically, why is she out? Why is she, nothing's been chopped or cut or whatever. And basically Joel kind of lies to her saying, what was her exact question again? It was something like along the lines of what was it? Why am I drawing a blank suddenly?
Try to find it.
That basically the Fireflies had like good intentions, and that he didn't do anything sort of, that she didn't want, right? And he just basically said they couldn't do it, was what he alluded to. It turned out they couldn't do it, so that's why they left.
Right.
Was basically what he alluded to, not telling, her that, oh, they actually were gonna kill you, and it wasn't a guarantee, and all these things, and so he's trying to guard her from that. Basically, that's where we left off. So they have that conversation. They're going down to Jackson, I believe the town is called, the main town. And at that point, this is where it already deviates, the show from the game. We suddenly snap to, I believe at that point, Abby, who is a brand new character, and a collection of people around her who we don't really get names for yet. So I won't go off and say names for all of them because I don't think they did. So we go off to them, and it's the same time frame. We see the giraffes in the background, so we know where this is taking place. Because if you watch season 1, you know what the giraffes in the town. So we know we're in Salt Lake, I believe it is. And there's a bunch of graves in the ground. You assume because we saw what Joel did. Basically went crazy on the Fireflies, killing a bunch of people.
Shot a lot of people.
They're all having this memorial thing. This girl Abby is very upset. Okay. And basically is saying we need to track him down and kill him. Slowly, which was very cool. Which, I mean, to be fair, I think is a very normal thing to think after, I mean, a bunch of these people had died in front of her, and around her, all her friends and stuff. So, yeah, that's basically what all they told us in that scenario. And then boom, a thing pops up 5 years later. That's all it was. 5 years later. Now we're inside Jackson, and we see, I think this is where we get Ellie's just fighting with a dude.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So we're getting Ellie 2.0. All right, we're getting Ellie 2.0, maybe 2.01 beta version. She's beating up on a dude that's probably like 280.
He's large.
He's large.
Huge.
Well, should we have a segment called Guess the Weight?
Man, there's
How
that
would
one
you
part
ever
where he was
prove
picking her
who's
up like he was
right?
gonna power bomb her, and then for some
Yeah.
reason he stopped. And I was like, man, he could have put her through the barn
Oh.
floor.
Did she like slip off of him? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, it looks like she just kind of let go, and then she
Yeah.
gets him in an old.
It wouldn't matter. She's
Yeah.
got like she would get ragdolled. He wouldn't even feel her picking up. That is a mammoth of a man.
Yes.
I don't understand how you feed a guy like that in a post-apocalyptic world and keep him large.
Yeah, no, he's got to go.
Yeah.
He's gotta go.
Immediately.
Like that guy's eating the food of 6 people. All right, that's protein you're never gonna get back. About what happened? Okay, yeah, 5 years. Okay, yeah, so we have that. Basically, they were saying, Ellie's, doing all sorts of different like jujitsu and things, whatever. I don't know what it is. It's like she's doing arm bars and stuff in the air. We can see that 5 years later, we can start to see what she's become. She's very, she's very, taking on sort of that maybe what she saw Joel, or that like authoritarian, sort of strong, sort of, just really like a badass. Like, let's just call it what it is. That's what she wants to be, I think. And so we see that, right? So we're saying don't pull your punches. They said that he did pull her punch. She has a bloody nose, and she was told, I think by Dina pops in here. I think it was Dina, right? Oh, no, it wasn't
No.
Dina. It was what's his name?
I
Which
forget.
part? The one who's watching over the
Yeah,
Yeah, the buddy.
Dina's ex-boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dina's ex. What's Dina's ex name? Ex don't give it to you?
Give me a sec.
This is why I should write
Everyone,
stuff
how
down.
fast can we Google?
How fast can you Google? Before I got my Google crew. Jesse. Jesse's there. Says pulled punch, blah, blah, blah. She isn't like that. They leave. And they kind of go out into town here. she's asking if she wants to go back out on the next recon mission. She obviously is really taken out. She wants to get outside the walls. We got to remember she's grown up in a world where she's basically walked around her entire life, been free, and now they've been 5 years inside this locked place. They're going out and about. And Jesse basically says like, no, you're basically stuck here. It's kind of how this conversation goes. I don't know if it all happens in this point or not, or if it happens later, but basically the long story is she didn't listen the last time that they were out, and now because of that, she's being told she has to sit on the wall.
Yeah,
which is boring to her. That's like death. She hates that. Am I missing anything there?
I don't think so.
No, I think that's all. Like,
I
yeah.
don't like her attitude, but
Yeah, and that's definitely one thing I think once we get through this too. Like I think, and a lot of people that haven't played the game are going to have I think a large adjustment to the first episode here and seeing kind of the path that she's going on. So that's kind of what's going on here. Going down this sort of hardened, very mature. She's 19 years old now, I believe, is kind of her age. She's kind of this young adult, really trying to figure out her way in this new world, taking sort of wants to kind of grown up too fast, I think is kind of the term, right? Might think she's a little bit older than she actually is, might know a little bit more than she actually does. We see at this point there's some talks going back and forth with Joel. I think we kind of get a scene early on here where we figure out what Joel's been up to for the last 5 years. He's become the construction dude.
Yeah, he's like the foreman.
The foreman. And basically it's very interesting conversation from a few standpoints because he just is kind of like, he's figuring it out. He's working away there. We see them open up a water main like in the beginning, and it kind of pans into his office, and then another woman comes in. I can't remember her name, but I don't think they even said her name actually, but basically tell him like, hey, you got to build faster. Like people are pouring into our gates. You need to build faster. And of course he makes a sarcastic joke about just turning the dial.
Tommy's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's Tommy's wife's name again?
Maria.
Maria. Okay. And about just like, he's like, I'm going to turn a dial and don't worry, we'll build all these, he's just patronizing her, right? He's just bugging her. Basically saying they're going as fast as they can go. And there is no faster. And so they kind of have this argument, little moment before, before Tommy gets there, basically saying like, hey, like maybe we should consider not letting everybody in.
Mm-hmm.
Which is an interesting conversation, based on the fact like that most of them, including him, came in. Yeah, what do you got there, Ostrich?
There is a scene before that where
okay,
he's foremanning and Dina comes in and he has a little chat with her.
That was before that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm rewatching it right now, so.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, good.
It doesn't really
good.
matter for what we're talking about, but
no, that's fine. Okay, so we'll finish this, then we'll go back to that. That is interesting. That is worth saying because it does have implications for later.
Yeah, I got to put on, so.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, they're building. They can't build fast. If he's talking, they're kind of almost have an argument about not letting people in. Really calming that down. Of course, he's new there too, and well, not new there. He's been there for 5 years, but he was let in, and they just can't support everybody who's coming through the doors. So it is
guy that has eating all the beef.
It's true. We got to save the beef.
Yeah, like
where do you think they're getting beef from too? Like where's the protein coming from?
Human.
It's coming from human. Oh,
cannibal.
That would be one. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's kind of where that conversation goes. Then Tommy comes in, and of course, Tommy and Joel are on the exact same thing. She basically says, he's like, oh, what's going on? He basically says, oh, just basically like your wife, Maria, is like telling us we need to build faster. He's like, oh, did you tell her about the magic dial that you can turn? It's hilarious. Classic stuff.
It's a good
and of course,
super tight kind of conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, right? It kind of gives you, that's kind of the Naughty Dog secret sauce there that makes the game special, that makes the relationship special. It's not, the writing. It's not always just like the important writing. It's always the side off stuff that's just hilarious to kind of just giggle at and that humanizes them, I guess, basically. And then Tommy's kid is there. Tommy and Maria have a kid there. And of course they're playing around and doing their thing and kind of being the uncle and you have this like nice little fun life that they're living there.
Which is an interesting thing
Um,
for Joel too, because you don't like with Ellie, like he was always so grouchy, and like he would show like his warmer side, but then you got with Tommy's kid, like him running up and he puts him on his lap and is showing him all these things and doing the
yeah.
finger guns, faking getting shot and all that. Like, it's not a. I don't know if it's supposed to show that he's missing Ellie or if he's just different, but there's something
I
that
think
I feel season one Joel wouldn't have been quite as smiley welcoming.
Even in the
no, like
game,
we're
right? He felt more like a outsider in the society, didn't he? It's been a while since I
yeah,
played.
I think in the game he was all yeah, I think he was having a hard time kind of dealing with the community. I think more. It seems like he's very integrated, like, and he's the head foreman, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's up the corporate ladder.
he's
Yep.
in deep.
But maybe they're playing like okay, like he's had these moments now. Like this is what he used to do before like before this whole thing outbroke, or sorry, the outbreak. He used to be a construction guy, so this is his thing. Maybe this has kind of brought him back down to somewhat of a real life. Maybe I don't know. Um, might not be. Could be anything. It could be really anything. Okay, so they have the whole talk. They do all that stuff. We did miss the thing with Dina that Ostrich brought up. Dina is a new character, but pops into Joel's house. He's sitting there fixing a breaker. And Dina's very bubbly and sort of easy to talk to. But basically, the moral of the story, this whole thing is, um, Joel wants to teach her something. She says yes, right? You have this good sort of conversation. But the main part is she brings up like, hey, like what's up with what's up with Ellie? Like what's going on here? Um, what's the deal? She's been very standoffish. She's been a lot more like, like stuck in the mud, and basically he doesn't know either. Um, because he basically alludes to the fact that she won't really tell him anything or doesn't communicate with him. And it comes out at this point, the first time we hear it, that he's in therapy, which is again, that's also different than the game. Um,
Does that
and it's
exist?
also different than the Joel we know. What was that?
Does that exist in the game?
No, I don't think
No,
he ever.
yeah.
The Catherine O'Hara's character doesn't exist in the game.
Yeah.
I don't believe. Okay. And then from there, I think we go to the kind of. I mean, minor things happen, but I think we go basically to the therapy scene.
Yeah. The one scene of Ellie sniping.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right. That is in the video games too.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. It's not winter though, is it?
no, it's not winter in the video
Yeah.
game. It's fall or something. Like I remember being very yellow.
So the shooting of zombies is after the Dina scene, but before the other scene we talked about
Oh, okay.
with
So we're
Tommy
way
and
out of order.
running
Well,
away.
this
That's
website's
okay.
not
It's
doing me
fine.
any
And then
value. It's all right.
or therapist is after that.
Okay.
Psycho something, whatever she calls herself.
Yeah. So we have it was it Tommy out there with him? Or was
Yeah.
it Jesse?
Uh,
Yeah, Tommy was
Yeah.
out there
Tommy.
with Abby, or not Abby, sorry, with Ellie.
Wow.
And yeah. Whoa, what a turn. And they're doing some sniping work. Basically learning how to shoot the rifle. They're saying, "Wow, this new scope is crazy," which of course is right up Ellie's like right up her wheelhouse right now. That's all she's about. Let's kill stuff, let's live, let's like sort of that mentality, and they're kind of bonding over it. And I think this is actually right here where they start talking about maybe where that she won't be going on anymore. On not anymore, but she'll be on the wall and not going for recon. I think this is actually where it happened.
Yeah.
And then we go to, which again isn't that we talked about that, so we won't go over that too much. And then we go to the therapist scene where we get Catherine O'Hara as Gail, the character Gail, who is I guess a makeshift. She doesn't call herself a therapist; she calls herself a psychotherapist.
Yeah.
And it's her birthday, according to her, and she is drinking,
Yeah.
which is everything you want to see in a therapist.
The worst
Makes
therapist
them more honest.
in the world, but I
The-
understand the reasoning why she
Yeah, I
was
understand
doing that.
Yeah. So it's even better too, is that how he pays her.
Yeah,
Like it's even better.
weed.
He walks in with a giant baggie full of weed,
Yeah.
and right away she complains that the buds aren't big enough.
They're not like
Like,
the other guy, whoever made
they're
them
not like-
much better.
Yeah, and he's like, it's winter. Like what do you want me to do here? He's like, it's just be happy with what you get. And she's like, okay. And then just like business, she takes the drugs and she puts 45 minutes on the clock and then just sits down and pours themselves another drink, and away they go, which is hilarious. It's hilarious. I don't know. I think it's maybe Catherine also playing this character that makes it funny. I don't know why. She's always just a goof. Like I just keep thinking of what's
Moira.
that show? Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah. It's good. Anyway, so she's talking and Joel's talking, going back and forth, and she's kind of done the song and dance a few times already. You can tell she's like, man, I'm not engaged. She's not engaged. And she basically just says, like, can you tell me something that's like, can you tell me the truth? Basically. And then she kind of sits there and hums and haws on her own. She's like, yeah, I'll tell you. She's like, I don't want to, because I know it'll make everything messy and all this stuff, but I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you, my truth, is basically what she said. And she basically says, like, hey, we find out in this world, which again is different than the video game. I think her husband was Eugene, was the name.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was though.
I don't
He is
remember.
actually. Do you want to know who he was?
Sure.
We see him a little bit later in the game. It's not a significant thing. So this won't be like a real spoiler or anything. But he was the guy who grew all the weed that eventually other people got high on, which I can't say because it might be a scene coming up. So he was actually a pothead, which makes sense why she's also a pothead.
Oh gosh, I don't know if I remember that.
Yeah, you'll have to look it up. It's early on, or earlier-ish on. So she's actually married to this dude, and so she says basically, she's like, oh, I resent you and I hate you for the fact that you shot my husband. And we are all like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, even people who saw play the game were like, what? That's not how everything went in the game, blah, blah, blah. But you shot my husband, and she says, I know you had to do it, because we assume he was bitten then, right? He was bitten and he had to be put down, so to speak. And she says, I understand why you did it, but it doesn't make me like you anymore. Like, I hate you still for it. And she said, I know it's the truth. That's my truth. She said, I know it makes things messy and whatever, but now I feel better because it's out there. Is basically what she said. So, in a short, like couple minute scene, we have her. This isn't the therapist of modern days here. This is makeshift therapist hour over here.
They're really helping each other in this one.
Yeah, really helping. Really helping.
Very helpful.
I think she might have got more out of this than he did.
I think so. She probably feels much better.
Oh yeah.
Because he left crying. So
yeah. Basically, and then basically once she shares that, she says, see, it feels good. She's like, I know it doesn't always look good, but it feels good here. So tell me, what is your truth? What are you hiding? She's like, she's not. Basically, she went on a tangent after that, saying she's 19-year-old. She's doing everything a 19-year-old does. Why are you upset about this? Tell me what's actually the truth behind this. She said, I sit here and we listen to this and we do this. Just tell me. And you can kind of see for a moment, Joel, like, kind of sits there and thinks for 2 seconds. He was about to, and he's like, no, I saved her life. That's what he says, and storms out.
Yep.
Which is, again, that's a little bit of the old Joel still there. We're seeing this modern version of Joel, but this sort of like, domesticated older version of Joel. And it's not, where he's got that old Joel sort of cropped up there for a little bit, I think. It's an interesting scene. It was added in, not in the games, but it was fun. It kind of, gave us a little more context, I think, for things. I don't know, maybe not. Would you guys get anything else from this that I kind of missed? Nothing really? That's all good.
No,
we kind of covered it a lot. It's a small scene, so.
I don't know if it's really like you can obviously, that something's still paining him with it when he doesn't want to really talk about it or reveal that big of a secret.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like, I'm sure she'll pop up here and there more. I don't know if it was necessarily a needed addition to it, but yeah, it's a scene.
Yeah. Yeah, it was for sure.
I'm sure it'll come in later, like you said, with that one brief future bit about the weed farmer.
Yeah.
The weed farmer. It's attached to a different scene that I think might be important, so I don't want to say anything about it, but it's interesting. I mean, it all made sense once we had kind of heard, once I heard the name and I figured out who it was.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So now after that, we got a tooled up, fully fleshed out Ellie and Dina ready to go on horseback on a recon patrol. They got put back on. They basically kind of, you know, promised their way on. Like, hey, like you got to listen. You have to, like Jesse's like, you got to listen. You're not in charge. So if the leader says pull back, you got to pull back. You got to do all these things. Be a good little soldier. Follow the commands. And she's like, yeah, no problem. I'll do it. Blah blah blah. And basically just, you know, her and Dina basically get suited up and away they go.
Mm.
They end up coming across a bloody sort of little pool on the side of a mountain. They ignore it. Right away, the leader, which I can't remember her name.
Cat.
Cat.
What was that?
Cat.
Cat? Oh yeah, Cat's right.
One with the haircut.
Cat says like they see a little bit of blood. She says, "That's true. That haircut was something." They basically say, "Pause. We should bring this information back." And then, of course, Ellie and Dina are like, "Nope, we're gonna keep going forward." They're like, "Hey, we're doing recon." Like again, like every like annoying young person would not listen and just go.
Yeah.
And I kind of get it. It's just a little pool of blood, but
Well, that was kind of my thought too. I was like, there's no reason that you actually need to go back and report that there's blood. Like,
yeah,
what are you gonna do with that? He'll be like, okay, thanks for that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Okay,
I think
there's a
it's-
blood. Okay, like probably a clicker. Like what do you want me to tell you from that?
yeah, I like this. I like this version of snarkiness where they keep going, but
Yeah. I did think, yeah, the other three were playing it like really, really careful. I'm
Mhm.
like, look how far away you are from camp. You just did that little bit of trail just to see a pool of blood, and like, for all you know, that's a bear killed something there. Like, you don't even know it's anything.
yeah.
Yep.
You get people worked up for no reason. But anyway, so they keep going up the hill. They're now following this blood trail. And they come across this little town that has a superstore, sort of supermarket, sorry, in it. And there's a bloody bear carcass right in the middle of it that's been torn apart, we
Bloody
assume by
bear.
clickers and everything. Yeah, bear, yeah. And you can kind of see a little blood path go up and over top of onto this little truck, this box truck, and up into a window, which is kind of interesting. Again, that was kind of maybe our first sort of little bit of foresight into what we might find in this place, because you don't think a clicker would be smart enough to be like, oh, I'm gonna go walk up on top of this, you know, this van and go through a window, and like they're not that smart. They're more of like, hey, I'm gonna go smash through a window or jump through a window or a door or something, right? Like, I didn't really tune into it at this point that there might be something different.
I did like the scene where they're like climbing up the van to get onto the roof. I was like, that
Yeah.
feels like such a video game entrance into a building.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. It literally is. That's shot for shot out of the
Yeah.
game.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was very cool.
There, I don't think I'm looking over, and the bear doesn't seem to actually be in the video game. They stumble across a dead moose that had been
Yeah.
kind of massacred.
Yeah, there's
by
something
things.
mauled in the middle.
Yeah.
I remember this part of the game when I was playing it, when I was streaming it, because I couldn't find the box van to jump on top of, I think, for like a couple minutes. And I'm like,
But
oh, idiot,
I'm
it's right
at
there.
it.
Follow the blood trail, you moron. So yeah, they go, so again, they get to the town, and of course, same thing. Command at this point's like, okay, we've seen enough. Can we go back and report this now? Like, can we report something? We know there's clickers, there's stuff here. Do we really need to go in? They're like, we're gonna go in there and like, it's like maybe one or two. We're just gonna go get rid of them type stuff. Dina and Ellie go, and the kind again, they're just not listening. So they go up to the window. They go up the box truck. They go up to the window, and they at this point, I think this is where they start listening. They do listen again when they're on the inside, but I think they listen here as well, and you can kind of hear like, one clicker is what Ellie says right away,
Yes,
being a little
yeah.
bit careless. Being a little careless, just sitting there listening, and then Dina kind of taps her on the arm and says, no, listens, and then she puts her other hand up saying like, no, she hears two. Like, there's two clickers in there. And like, okay, there is. So they hop in, and we have a very video gamey moment where they each go on one side, and they can hear the clicker, and they're doing like tons of like hand signals, which is kind of cool. Communicating back and forth, but they're also being silly. Like they're like, here, I'm gonna throw this, and and then she makes like a face of like they're getting stabbed, like and they're having like some sort of fun kid moments again, and they're not kids, but they are kids basically, and playing around. But they're also, figuring out how they're gonna take this thing down silently. They put their guns away, they grab the knives out, they're figuring it out. Of course, you have the very video gamey moment where they see the bottle on the ground, which again, Last of Us is just full of that stuff. Pick up the bottle or the brick.
A good little scene. I like that.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. And this scene was a bit interesting to me, because again, it's just one clicker. There's not really anything. You presume at this point they've killed, hundreds or thousands of these things near this place if
Right.
they're doing these recon missions all the time. But it seemed like, so they made the decision to go. Okay, they're gonna go forward. She throws the bottle. Ellie throws the bottle, creeps around. Dina's going the other way. The clicker comes forward. Ellie basically gets on the back of it and just starts just stabbing like crazy, which again feels really like it wasn't going well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it felt
Like
very frantic, which I kind of
it felt,
liked. Where it was like, yeah, even though she's good, it's like it can still be a bit difficult.
yeah, but I also felt like it wasn't she's just being very carefree because they make a point of saying before that like, oh hey, I can't get infected. What do I care?
Yeah.
Right.
Like she felt very carefree about it, which again is not great. You don't want that. You can still be torn to shreds. So,
And
um,
someone mentions that somewhere.
they mentioned the first season. I think. I think they mentioned the first season where she's like, oh yeah, well, whatever, I can't get infected, and she said no, but you can be torn to bits. What was that
Mm,
name? Tess. I
right.
think says
Oh
that.
yes, yeah,
She had a good death.
Um,
she
so
did.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's very carefree. Dina had to basically end up helping her. You see her come in at the end and kind of like stab, and then the thing goes down. Um,
Well, I think Dina's killing
again,
her own because is there not two in there?
There's two.
Because
no,
there's
there
one
was
in a
only one up
dress.
top.
There
No,
was
because
two.
Dina saw one in a dress,
Dina killed hers off screen.
which is
Oh, did
weird.
she? I
And it
didn't.
was
I
She
didn't hear
went
that.
out, and then there was the screaming. That was her killing the
Oh,
first one, and then Ellie threw the bottle, killed the second one.
it was a
okay.
weird sort of yeah. I thought it was a weird scene because like I was watching it with Riva and she was like, "Well, what about the other one?" And then Dina comes wandering around and we're like, "Oh, I guess she
Yeah.
killed
I
her."
guess she just got it.
Yeah,
See, and I thought they heard two, but there was only one up top, and they heard a second one somewhere else, and there was,
because when they're all
and they
both
were just
on
gonna.
their own sides of the hallway, when they look, Dina sees one in a dress, and then Ellie
Oh,
kills
okay.
whatever
Oh,
one.
I must have not put that together. But it does. I mean, it is what it is. Like at the end of the day, I mean, Dina took care of hers really quick,
Mm,
Yeah, that's true.
and Ellie didn't. Like, and it was funny. I always think too. I'm like, that's a tiny little knife she's got. She can't even
yeah,
reach to the like.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just feels weird as someone who literally had every gun known to man strapped to her on the way out, that she has this little tiny knife.
hmm
It doesn't even have like a decent sized knife. Yeah, she was basically just like chiseling away at this thing. Um, which is, I mean, whatever. They end up dropping it. They get it. They're all kind of giggly and laughing and blah blah blah. And so like, okay, we got it, no problem. They're gonna leave. And of course, in the most Naughty Dog fashion, it happens this way in the game too. She takes a couple steps back, falls through the roof, down to the main story because they were on the second story. Now they're on the main level of this supermarket. The supermarket, of course, is huge, not huge, but decent size. She falls
Big
right
enough.
down the middle of it, and luckily not hurt. Um, and kind of looks around. There's nothing happening, and they basically say like, Dina's like, "Hey, don't move. I will come down there and find you."
Mhm.
And of course, we know Ellie's not going to listen to that. She hasn't taken orders in years.
Yeah,
So she
sucks.
gets up. Yeah,
In the game,
she
they
gets
both
up.
fell through the floor.
Did they both fall through?
Yep,
no.
I'm watching a side by side right now.
Oh, okay.
So
They
they
did
kind of go
both
to
fall
that
through.
supermarket place together with no real. That's not where they encounter the one that Ellie does in the show.
Mm, yeah. Okay.
I
Gotcha.
got you.
And then we're kind of in this other place. We know, she's on edge about it. Luckily, nothing came running at her, which again was probably something she was, because normally clickers sound, you make a sound, they just come running towards you. Nothing came running towards her, so it kind of told her, hey, like there's probably nothing here, but she is still, paying attention. She starts going through, kind of, I guess I'm assuming just clearing the place or she wanted to find some stairs, I think was what she said. Um, so she's going through, and you can kind of see in the background of a lot of these shots, there's like 3 or 4 shots where something is crawling in the background.
Mhm.
Did you guys catch that on the very first scene?
Yes,
Yeah,
Or
that's
not the very first
cool.
scene, but the very first time
I think
on the
I did,
wall?
unless I missed. Yeah, on the wall. Yeah, I saw it.
Okay. Because there was a bunch on the wall, and then of course she's passing through the aisles, and you see it on every aisle.
That was kind of cool too. I liked how it's
Yeah, it was
every
very.
aisle. Like, I was like, is it going to show up on this next one? Oh, it did. It did. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it did. So we can see it's moving on all fours, so it's definitely different, something we haven't seen before.
Mhm.
And more importantly, it's not just it knows where she is, and it's not just running at her. So we know it's something different. Um, so basically, long story short, She gets to the end, and then this thing starts making noise at her, which if you've played the games, you know this is part of what it does. These sort of, I guess, what were they called? Are they called stalkers in the
I think they're
game?
called
I thought they
stalkers.
were, yeah. I thought it
I
was
think,
maybe a Left 4 Dead mix up there, but
yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking too. I'm pretty sure they were called stalkers, but
I think we can call them that. That's what
we'll
they're
call them
doing.
stalkers. Yeah. And this thing is just peeking around the corner, which they do in the game, which was creepy also, and just makes noise at her. And she is so angry that it's not running at her. Ellie is screaming at her like, "Run at me!"
She took it personally.
And yeah, she
Very
took it
angry.
personally. And then, but it didn't. It went back around the corner. And of course, Ellie just chases after, runs around the corner. It's not there. It's gone. She starts moving forward. And this thing pops kind of out of like, I don't know, this little cubby near the ground thing
Yeah,
hole.
I'm trying to figure
It
out
was
what
really
it was.
dark on my screen.
It
I
looked
couldn't
was
tell
like
what it was.
one of those like
Oh.
islands that have like food on it and stuff, and the
Yeah,
bottom
Oh,
is just
okay.
blown out.
and like there's a storage space underneath it where
Yeah.
she kind of crawls herself out of very ring-like. Looks cool.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, very. Yeah, you're right. Very ring like that is a very good description. And this thing tackles her from behind. And immediately this kind of, this fight goes on, and Ellie reaches down for her gun while they're fighting, and ends up shooting this sort of stalker, this new thing, a few times, and it dies. Of course, Ellie gets bit, which doesn't really matter. Her immunity is there. She's still fine. She does take her knife. What, I can't remember. Did I miss something here? She takes a knife and cuts through all of the teeth marks.
That's later. That's
Later on.
after she gets back.
Yep.
Oh, was that afterwards? I thought she did that right there already when she was there.
Because Dina shows up right away. She looks at it, and there was like the
Oh.
fungus growing out of it, which crazy. I would be picking that shit out. I don't care.
Yeah,
if
I know
I'm-
immediately.
I was like,
Get out,
no,
get
no,
out.
no,
wee
no.
things.
Yeah, those little. I'm like, nope. You got to be picking that out right now. I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
she cuts it later.
But in part of
Okay,
her
so that's
getting
why
ready
she
for
does it to
dance.
get that stuff out? Is that what she was doing? Like, I don't
Just,
know.
I think to hide the bite. So that
That's what I
doesn't-
thought too. I thought originally, I'm like, oh, this makes it look like, oh, maybe it was like a knife thing or a,
Yeah.
because someone's gonna ask about the scar eventually,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
or if they see her, or if she's like, oh, I got wounded. Ah, it was just when I was fighting. It got like is a knife. Nothing. Right. That's what I thought it was about. But I didn't
sure
see it. There was fungus in it. That's crazy.
Yeah,
No,
it was a
because
little nasty.
when she was cutting it, it was like later when she was back in her garage
Oh,
at her
okay. Yeah.
place. Initially
Oh.
she just like looks at it, and then it's all wiggly, and then she hears like Dina's coming, so she covers up.
Oh,
So
can you take a screenshot and show you? It blocks it on this.
Oh,
Man.
now it is what it is.
All right.
That's so cool. But it was interesting too, because even like the stalker, when it was stalking, like its tongue had like the fungus coming out of it.
Oh,
Yeah, it
or
was
the
nasty.
nose.
It's
like
so
the
creepy.
Nose cavity. It was like
nose cavity.
friggin'
Oh,
flinging
Yeah.
out of there. Yeah.
yeah.
It is crazy how they've done. I think they've done a very good job of making fungus like alive and gross.
Yeah. I hate it.
It's like it's not just like, oh, look, here's a mushroom. It's like, no, this like tentacly, like,
It's like reaching for you. Ugh.
yeah, it's gross. Like it wants, it can sniff. But anyway, yeah. So we have this new enemy that's been shown to us now. And basically she goes, okay, whatever. They've done their thing. They go back to town, and now there is this meeting, this debrief.
Super. official.
Yeah,
very
very
official.
official, and this very like, politically looking room where there's cabinets and everything's facing to the middle, and her and Dina are both being kind of deposed, or whatever it's called. At this point, by what we presume are like the elders of the. I don't want to call it like there was
I
not.
think
Didn't
they
look like
called
there was
it the
one in
council, didn't they?
charge. What was that?
They called themselves the council.
The council? Yeah, it's a council, a collection of people who I'm assuming make the decisions that go on inside Jackson. And they're basically being debriefed about this whole like, hey, there's a new enemy out there, and what's creepy about it is it didn't run at me. It wasn't. It seemed like it's, and then they use it. It was like stalking. Like it didn't.
It was
Right?
smart. It wasn't just.
It was smart. It could see, all these sort of things. So you can see that the fungus is evolving. Things are changing. Okay, so they have that meeting. It's actually pretty quick. It's not anything major. I don't think there's anything else really that happens here. Throughout the episode at this point, we've been alluded to that there's some sort of shindig happening later on, because everyone's like, hey, are you going, Joel? Hey, are you going, Ellie? Hey, are you
Going
going,
to that
Dina? They're
thing.
all talking with each other. It's like a it's like a middle school. Hey, are you going to the dance? You going to the dance? You going to the, like? And so we know there's something going on. We've also been told it's New Year. New Year's. It's not just like I couldn't remember what it was for, but it's for New Year's. And I think we basically go from that scene. It kind of fast forwards to maybe, yeah, I don't know. Does it go straight to
It
the New Year's
goes
party?
to Ellie carving up her stomach.
Okay, it does go back to that. Okay,
She's not psyched about that.
no, no.
And then
Oh.
her and Joel have a little conversation.
Yeah, they have a little conversation up front. Goes up back again. It's not going well. All their
Yeah.
conversations are very standoffish, and
And then it's party time.
then yeah, basically it's yeah, party time. I forgot to mention at this point too, Ellie has changed a bit, meaning like she has a tattoo that covers up her bite on her right arm now. She has that kind of infamous tattoo that, I mean, in the game becomes very infamous, like from the elbow down. Forgot to mention that. Again, just showing that maybe she doesn't want people to see that she's been bitten again. She's kind of hiding it, which is not completely, crazy in this world. Dance, that's right. They go into the dance. That's right. Joel checked on Ellie in the garage. I think at this point he also there's a guitar fix in there somewhere. We might have missed that earlier on, but
That's
they
what
just
takes the guitar.
basically all you need to know is that they are not connecting at all.
Yeah.
Like they're just not connecting. The relationship is dead. He takes the guitar, says it needs new strings, and leaves. We kind of see at this point too. That like we've had a little bit of talk of relationship with Ellie, which is different. Like talking about her ex, and maybe making it clear that for anyone who didn't know, that she's a lesbian, and like, hey, they're making jokes about, hey, I dated the only other basically lesbian in the community. Like, what am I gonna do here?
She's the other one, I think, is what she
She's
said.
the only
Yeah,
other one. Yeah, like, which was funny because she's like, oh yeah, maybe you should go and like mend things with her because she's the only basically they're talking about in the horse as they're doing their recon. You also find at this point Dina had broken up with Jesse. They were going out, no longer. So again, you have this little like flirtatious things going on with them. You're not really sure what's going on. It's friend or is it something different? Because it gets alluded to a little bit as you go before that. As we're going before that. So now we go to the dance, the big old dance, which is a decent part of the game. It's a little bit shorter, but it's good. Ellie walks in and basically Dina is on the dance floor. Like everybody sees her. She's flying around. There's even a comment in there something like, "Oh, she's like really putting on a show for everybody."
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. Never really thought of it that way, but yeah, she's putting on a show. She's already well on her way drinking. She's pretty buzzed at this point. I wouldn't say she's drunk because she's functioning pretty well, but she's pretty buzzed. And of course they have like a funny sort of right away. She sees Ellie and she comes up to her and they kind of have a joke thing about it. They're kind of going back and forth and basically they're saying, "Hey, let's go dance." And they're still continually doing this stuff. Like, how bad do I smell? Like, I smell terrible.
Yep.
And they're laughing back and forth about what exactly, like, how bad are these people stinking at this point? Like, what's the BO meter in
They
this
have
world?
running water though, right?
I mean, you would think so.
They
You would
they
think
showed
so.
like
I'd feel
when
pretty
she was
calm.
cutting herself, she was like
But yeah.
using the sink, right? So they have
Yep.
running
Yeah,
water.
yeah. They have a lot of amenities. Like, they have electricity. And so I assume they have good running water too. But they have this sort of, this, it starts off as this kind of slow dance. It's kind of this very special moment. And then obviously they start dancing and whatever else. And then they end up sharing a kiss out there.
Oh,
And it kind of just keeps, what was that?
just kissing.
Oh yeah, just kissing. Yeah. And it kind of, it kind of goes on for a little bit. And then what
They
we can
really
only
got
assume
into
is a homophobic dude there. The old classic old white man sitting back there, basically tell him like, "Hey, like this is a family event." Again, maybe not inherently homophobic or anything, but in the games, I would say he's portrayed more that way. So I kind of took it in the show that it was that way. So you're seeing like these sort of the dynamics of normal, sort of not normal life. I don't want to generalize it, but like of everyday life in the real world are still leaking through into this new created world. Same sort of things you deal with there are still happening here.
Mhm.
Um,
And both is
and
like word for word with what the old guy says. He calls them both a homophobic slur, which
yeah,
doesn't go
yeah,
well in the game
he
and
basically
the show.
yeah, exactly. So and then eventually they, you know, he talks to them and they said something back and yeah, he uses a homophobic slur back to him. And at that point, that's when Joel comes crashing in and just puts this guy to the ground, basically just pushes him and launches him. Like it's not just a push, he launches him. Um, you see some of that old protective Joel come back.
Which is
Um,
different than the game, because the game I'm watching a side by side,
yeah, he
and
does not get pushed to the ground.
the old man does not get laid out.
No, he just kind of bumps him and says like, "Hey,
Yeah, he
like
says, "Get the hell out of
get
here,
out of
you missed
here,"
the
type
push."
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a pretty solid. He's
Um,
not pushing to like it's a guided push. Like he's not trying to
yeah.
knock him over or anything like that in the game.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, exactly. But here he just launches them. Basically, yeah,
yeah,
his protection mode happens again. Um, and of course, Ellie snaps back at him like, "Hey, I don't need your help. I don't need you to do this. You don't need to protect me." Kind of like I can handle this.
yeah,
So again, you see this sort of like you can just see the look, and Pedro Pascal is really killing this character. Like
Oh,
he's so good at acting. Like it's wild. It's wild how good he is at it because you can just see on his face like just the heartbreak and like he doesn't know what else to do at this point. Like he's the last time we saw him, he was this girl was everything, and now it's not,
hmm
right? And she literally doesn't seem to want to have anything to do with him. Um, so it's just heartbreak. And so I think he ends up storming off, not storming off, but he ends up leaving. Um, And that's kind of how the scene sort of ends, I think, right? There's nothing else really there that I'm missing.
no.
Um,
She does get a whole lot pissier in the show. Like when she
mhm.
says, "I don't need you," like it's a bit more of a scream at him.
Yeah,
Whereas in the show, it's more, or in the game, it's like she's kind of embarrassed because he made a whole scene. So she like, it's more of a muttering where it's like, "I don't need you right now." And I
yeah,
think I like the game one more just
mm,
because emotions just seem so much more ramped up in the show.
yeah.
And I just hate the teenage pissiness. Like, I don't know if it reminds me of work or what it is, but I hate it. I
Yeah,
hate
hey,
it in shows when they do it, and I know Permadirt, I know you didn't watch Harry Potter, or did you watch Harry Potter in the end?
no, no, no,
Okay.
no.
There's a bunch of there's it drags on way too long with all the
Mhm.
friends being pissy at each other, and it's such a garbage
Part
series.
of the
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's kind of the same thing here. It's like, we get it, you're mad, but like Joel didn't do anything that you know of, and you're just
yeah,
doing it because you're upset with life, and I don't know. It makes for a awkward relationship that I just don't really enjoy watching.
yeah. It's a punishing one to experience, right? Like, and I think it goes again to her mature or immaturity, maybe,
Mhm.
and also being carefree and kind of her whole persona she's taken on, um, because it isn't as simple as just like most people would understand like hey there's got to be levels to this like you're not trying to completely tear this man apart
Yeah.
and she doesn't seem to have those boundaries put in there. She just will say whatever's on her mind and do what she wants and right she's 19 years old but she's acting like that 14, 15-year old kid, right, that hasn't really grown up with in a basic society that has rules and stuff. She's kind of just done her own thing
Well,
and grown up very quickly because of it.
yeah, and you see it with Joel that he just wants someone like his daughter. Like, it's not
Yeah,
working well with Ellie, so then that one scene he has with Dina where he's like, "Here, let me show you how to do this." And I think
yeah,
it's a reference about watching a show together or something,
yeah,
which I remember just being strange in general.
yeah,
And
but
that's not
again
saying,
like
but he's just, yeah, wants a daughter.
yeah. And he says that in the therapy session too. He's like, how come I can talk to Dina and have a totally normal conversation?
Hmm
And basically we're like aliens when we talk with me and Ellie. Like, so he definitely wants that relationship. He does feel, I think also it doesn't help. He looks around, he sees everyone else being so happy and basically moving on with life, and he is still, basically pre-pandemic, except for he still doesn't have a child.
Yep.
That child size hole that he lost in season 1 still hasn't been filled.
Yep.
Right. So basically they storm out of there. I think at this point, do we have the conversation quickly between Joel and Ellie as she's coming back to the garage first?
They don't talk there.
They don't talk. She just
She
walks by.
She just, oh, sorry, not talk, yeah, but basically just walks by and they kind of do their, yeah.
There's a
And
glare
then,
of they don't want to speak, and then you get a shot of the drains.
yeah, so
Oh,
you
yes.
see at this point that all the sparklers, they see sparklers and things. It's like, oh, it's New Year's, and a kid drops a sparkler right near the pipe that they had cracked open. And you see it's not just sticks. There's some fungus in there that don't like the light and don't like the heat, so they slowly back out, to which you're like, wow, that's really cool.
Little wiggles.
To me, that was kind of neat. I'm like, that's it, because again, that's different than the game.
Mhm.
I have a few theories as to where that's gonna go, and how they're gonna change sort of the differences from the game. I have a few theories on that. Basically, because based on the hive mind, sort of the hive mind nature of the fungus, right? It being, having that sort of happen to it is going to set off things that's going to be able to notify other things that might end up calling stuff to Jackson. So we might get some more sort of action at Jackson.
Action at Jackson.
Which we didn't, which you don't see in the games. Like there's nothing at Jackson's like this oasis that's safe. Nothing comes there. And I think with this sort of introduction, we're gonna maybe have that thing where it's like, oh, there's gonna be maybe a battle going on there. I don't know. I purposely didn't watch all the trailers, so I'm kind of out in the dark on this one. But I'm kind of interested to see how this plays out.
And then the final scene with Abby.
Yes, and then it pans way out to a ridge, way out in the distance.
She is so far away.
She's so far away.
If you're
But
hiking
5
that,
years
you're gonna be there in
later,
months.
well, no, that'll be like a couple days. Talking about, look at her.
Far.
She's determined.
She's determined.
She is. She is that.
So yeah, we saw Abby and Owen, who's the other like sort of dude that was talking to her in the beginning. Abby and Owen are in outdoor gear and they're overlooking the view of Jackson with lights and everything. So we know that they're coming. They've been tracking people. I don't think they know maybe for sure that they're there. They probably assume it. But they are tracking it, which again is different, I believe. I don't know if we saw that. Can't remember if we saw that in the game or not.
I can't remember how they're. What the general timeline is.
Yeah, because again, the game is different. We didn't get to see Abby this early. And she seems to have the same sort of anger, which again we don't know she has. We know she has in the show, but we didn't know she had it in the game when we first met her.
Yeah, we
didn't really know. Yeah, we didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, in the game
we
she
just
doesn't have a reason.
assumed they were
It
another
wasn't
group
the
of
same.
survivors.
Because it didn't
Or
go
was that-
down the same way, right? Like she doesn't have the same motivations in the game as she does in the movie.
We don't even know anything about her. She does have the same motivations, but we don't know anything about her in the game.
Like we only find that out.
We find that out later. That's made
much later. Yeah.
much later. Yeah, not much later, but a little later.
I'm sure it's the later part
So-
we're all thinking about.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it isn't. We just, I think we even get a little section in the game where we're playing as her, and we just are just kind of like piecing things together. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this kind of this, strong individual character who in the game is very jacked. In the show, it's very interesting casting that they didn't
I
go with.
wanted to talk about the casting.
I was.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the casting. Let's get to it.
Let's do it. That's the episode. So
Yeah, that's basically the episode. We dragged that out also very long, but that's basically the episode. Again, 80% of it identical to the game. A few changes, but let's talk about casting. Like you said, what do you think? What's your initial thoughts?
well, Abby in the game is, for those of the people who don't know, I'm pretty sure she's blonde, maybe brunette, but she's like,
Yeah.
she's a jacked, strong woman.
Absolute beefcake.
She's a force. It's like the guy that Ellie was fighting at the start, minus the beard.
Yeah, exactly.
That's yeah.
And to
Well,
get
and
someone who's like this, like just a much smaller, cutesier version, is interesting.
It is interesting. I wonder what that kind of. I wonder if it changes anything. If it like, because that's sort of Abby's superpower in the game. Like, she's also, again, she's grown up in this world, and she's also kind of, a strong individual, very much like Ellie,
Yeah,
except for just much larger.
yeah.
So I wonder what that means for a few implications as far as that goes. But it seems like her sort of motivations and everything are the same. Her sort of anger is the same.
And
Um,
it's is she a leader? Is she the leader in the game?
she is basically the leader. She's her
Of
and
her
Owen, they're all
group.
kind of at the top, but
Uh,
she
Yeah.
is she is the leader. She's kind of the one driving this sort of search party.
yeah, because it's the same in this. Like she's driving the search party, but she's definitely doing it out of emotion. Because there's a scene where Owen goes and like encourages or tells her like we're gonna get them and do all this blah 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 blah. But it's yeah, it's not like she's leading this pack because she's strong and screaming at them. They seem to be like in it together, fueled by more emotion than her. I
Yeah.
don't know, her like
Yep.
I'm pissy and you're gonna follow me kind of thing.
Uh-huh. No, and that's true. It is like it is interesting because what's the actress's name here? I always forget.
Caitlin Dever.
Yeah, that's her name. I was trying to think like she's like the last man. Was it Last Man Standing or whatever? She's part of that show. She's from a lot of different things, but very much smaller than what is in the video game. So I always thought that was interesting. I was kind of curious how that was going to play out. I wasn't sure if she was like going to try and get stronger for the role, if we were suddenly going to see a transformation a little bit, or if they were going to try and use like camera angles or whatever to make her look bigger. And they're just not going to. She looks,
Yeah, who knows?
um,
She's in a coat,
yeah.
so maybe she's jacked under the coat. But
That's what but I was just off a quick Google, they were saying that she wasn't.
What's her name
Uh,
again? Devers. What's her first name?
Caitlin,
Caitlin. Um, I'm trying to remember. I think she's actually very short too. She looks very short.
oh gosh, I can't do
Um,
this conversion.
in the show, like she looks.
1.57 meters.
Yeah, what the heck is that?
5'2".
Five, yeah, 5'2".
Yeah, 5'2", 5'3". Yeah.
Just
So like
teeny.
just tiny. Like she looked tiny there too. So it is interesting to see what this is going to all mean. Because again, too, like even Ellie, I would say seems smaller. Because she's not like, I mean, she's not huge in the game, but she's taller in the game, I'll say.
Yeah, she's more lank, and she just looks older. I think Bella Ramsey
Yeah.
still looks pretty darn young.
Oh,
She
yeah.
does look very young.
She's kind of my only casting beef. I'm not as sold on her. She doesn't look
Okay.
like the Ellie I want her to look like based on the game.
The Ellie or the Abby?
The Ellie. Sorry, I'm switching to Bella Ramsey.
Okay. So you're not happy with the with that. Okay.
I'm fine with
Yeah,
it,
I mean
but yeah, like it's just different. Which
yeah.
whatever, you can have someone be pissed off and look different.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if there's some sort of motivation as to reason why they've made the change.
Mm.
Other than maybe there's just maybe they just no actress that filled the role that they were looking for. I don't know.
Who knows?
Um,
The other
so it is.
productions are good. Like I think Jesse looks really good, and
Yeah.
Dina's
Yeah, they did a
good.
good job of Jesse, and they did a good job of even Tommy. Like I know Tommy looks different, but like Tommy, not bad. They still have the long hair. He still has everything else. Basically, he's just there's just minor differences. But she's definitely the furthest left turn. Like Owen looks the same. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. What do we think about Dina?
I think fantastic.
Yeah.
I think. I
Yeah,
just
she's killing the role so far.
yeah, it feels like how I feel like she should be, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I think they've made a few changes with her. 'Cause I think in the game, she's more of like I think she was like at the daycare or something originally. Like in this, she seems a little bit more hands on with like being in the community, maybe a little bit. I don't know, but she's definitely. I even think in the show she's a little bit more bubbly.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Like
definitely.
she's very bubbly in the show,
Mhm.
which is okay because again, in this world, going back to the first season and everything, where it's just like doom and gloom all the time, and you're gonna get a lot more of that in this season. Like, it's crazy that it's good to have that little bit of a break where someone's maybe a bit positive, a more uplifting sort of character. So I'm here for it. I'm okay with. I like what she's done. I like how they
Uh,
have her portrayed.
would agree. I got no issues with her.
Perfect. I'm trying to think of any other new characters we got introduced to other than Catherine Hare's character, which isn't in the game, so
Yeah,
that's
it
not a
doesn't
big
really
deal.
matter.
And Jesse, which looked great, did everything he was supposed to. Sounds great, acted, did everything right.
Yeah, I like Jesse.
I think once we start to get more introduced to some of Abby's gang, maybe that'll be some other conversations in there because you do get to know those characters a bit too.
Hmm.
And we really didn't here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're just
Um,
existing there.
yeah,
They're just
I
kind of, yeah.
I do think it's going to be interesting. It's hard to talk about now. It's hard to talk about now, but where do we like the major change of introducing Abby early and what they're doing as opposed to in the games where you have no idea? Um, how do we think? Is there anything that's going to change other than that going forward? Do we think it's? I mean, I know we can't really talk spoilers, but is the meeting point different? Is Jackson get into play? Like, do they?
I wonder if it's gonna like be more parallel versus in the game where it was like you're on one side and then you go back and you're on the other side.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I kind of think that would have been nice in the show too to keep that.
I think
Not,
so too. I think you could have split it right down the middle with the seasons,
yeah. To not
right? I think that's what everyone, the
desensitize me the
fans,
first
sort
part
of
of it.
thought too. Maybe.
Like I think that was a big draw for me, at least playing it, where I was like, "Holy cow!" Like it just got crazy.
Yeah, and you knew in the game what they were trying to do. I remember streaming it, sitting here and being like, "Oh, I know exactly what they're gonna do. Like, I know exactly um what they're gonna do here." I'm like, right, and so I mean, without giving away anything, right? You don't want to do that, but it's just the way they're organizing things. I think is what we're trying to say is different. How they're organizing things, the same story beats I think are going to get hit. It's just how are we going to get there? I think is going to change. And I think it might be a few more changes than we're expecting. Um, especially with like the fungus being shown in Jackson.
Yeah.
So we know something. We know something's going to pop off there. That's going to be different, not existent in the games, right? We know that something's going to happen there. So does somehow Abby and maybe they're getting chased? Or is there a way that they get inside Jackson?
Is it that instead of the
Infiltrate?
storm that
Yeah.
that Joel saves them from, or is this getting into spoilers now? I don't know where the line
No, but
is.
like, but it's just like a matter of do they end
End up
up
in
sorry
Jackson.
inside Jackson at some point versus the parallel. Well, they don't in the game, and maybe you still go out on a patrol or something, but maybe they go out with them, right?
Yeah.
Like, is there something different because oh look, maybe they get attacked and they get we made the establishment that this Jackson is accepting everybody.
Mhm.
Like, um, so I don't know.
Mhm.
Like it is one of those things that's it's very sort of will they, won't they, what's gonna happen? I don't know. Is there any other thoughts on that? Like I was kind of thinking there might be some changes because of that stuff.
Well, I'm
I
curious,
think
like
so.
going off of what you guys are saying, that I wonder if you see Abby and her squad going into Jackson, kind of pleading, like looking for refuge, or just being like, we're just travelers kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then working their way through it until they're trying to find Joel. So
Yep.
if they find him, what does that look like kind of thing? Um, which makes me wonder if certain, like you guys said, certain story beats will be like from the game will be delayed a little bit longer and were played out more.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I'm very curious
I
about
don't
that too.
know.
How long, like, where are we going to end up at the end of season one? Is a huge question I have right now.
Season 2?
Because we know there's only 7 episodes. I don't know the length of them all. I don't even know if that's been released.
Mm.
Um,
They were all pretty.
I don't know if they've
last
even said.
season, weren't they? Like they were
What was
all
that?
right
Sorry,
around an hour or
right
so.
around an hour. Because some of them I think last time were like around 40 minutes, and then you get like a couple that were an hour, and then because 7 episodes is not a lot of time
No.
especially with what we got from the first one. So it'll be curious to see where it ends off. I know they're greenlit. They got greenlit a couple days ago for season 3. I
Oh,
really
okay.
wish they would have shot.
Now I don't know
What
where
was that?
now I don't know where it's gonna end. I assumed it was only gonna be the 2 seasons, but
No, 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 no. I think it was always there was no way they're gonna get to everything. Like there was no way they're ever gonna get all of the second game in a second season. That's
I didn't
7
think
episodes.
so.
You just
But
can't do it.
now I don't know where it would
And I
stop.
know there's originally a talk that they were gonna do the second game in 2 seasons. I think I remember them saying that, but I don't know if I believe
I
it.
wonder if they're gonna drag out
It's gonna
the
be a
thing
never
for a
ending.
whole season.
Like it could be 3 seasons. I could see them doing it in 3 seasons depending on where they end this.
So could the end of the first season be where the first big event in the game happens?
I'm actually wondering.
That's what I'm thinking.
They
But
would
that's
have to drag that out.
crazy early.
Yeah.
Which
I
don't
know
happen
that's
a
like they
lot.
would drag stuff out, but again, if they're filling out this world, if they're filling out this world and we're gonna have maybe an attack on this place, maybe there's some sort of, do we stay? Do we leave? Is Jackson destroyed? You could have a few episodes of that. We heard about Eugene. There could be a flashback episode like we kind of got with was Bill in the first season.
Yep.
Man,
There could be all
if you give me a freaking one-off episode of 7 episodes in a season, I'm gonna be pissed.
I know,
hate-
dude. I hope
never-
they go further.
I think The Last of Us, like the episode of Bill, was literally the only one-off episode I've ever liked in any TV show.
It's
Like,
true.
I
Yeah, I
That is
hate,
think
true.
so,
I
yeah.
hate one-offs.
Everybody, when you sit there and you're like, yeah, I'm so excited for a new episode this week, and you sit down and they just go. It's like those old like Friends episodes and stuff where they basically like, hey, welcome to this episode. We're gonna show you the best moments of the first 5 seasons. And you're like, I waited all week for this crap, and this is
Yeah.
what you're gonna give me?
Yeah,
A recap that I've watched a million times. Oh, it's so infuriating.
yeah. Don't give me that. I can't.
Yeah.
I will not stand for it.
But to be fair, yeah, the Bill thing was solid last. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
crazy. But yeah, I'm curious to know, and that's going to be a big topic, I think, on our final episode where we're like, okay, is this where we thought we were going to end? Do we get past where we thought we were going to end?
I might have more
'Cause I
time
don't-
for the game than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. You might.
Yeah.
You might.
You have a lot more time to finish it.
Is there anything else you guys need to talk about? Want to talk about? Something I missed, or plot points, or direction?
No, I think
I
mean,
What do you guys think of Belle Ramsey? I brought it up slightly.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about her as Ellie? Because season 1 Ellie, I think she was quite good. Because I feel like her look fit the person.
Sure.
What do you feel about her in season 2?
I feel like I'm with you on the looks. I think they could have done something in makeup to kind of age her maybe a bit more. I think her natural look is working against her a little bit because she has a very, I don't want to say baby face, but she has a baby face.
Does.
yeah.
And Ellie does not. Like that's part of her transition with the 5 years later in the game. That along with her newfound confidence and newfound sort of anger and newfound that her face is very mature as well. Like you can see that she's grown up.
Yeah, it was like a whoa. That's
yeah,
that
yeah.
5
It was-
years
it was-
later was a shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the voice change, right? The voice change you experience is different. Like these are just many different things that you can throw at this. So I still think she's a great actress. She's doing a great job. The visuals, I would love for them to maybe make up a little bit of age, put a little age on her face. Maybe it's a few scars, maybe it's something like just shown like, yeah, she's been in it this whole time. Maybe.
Because even
don't
in the
know.
scenes where like she like gets ragey and like murders things or gets angry at something, I feel with the face that she has, like if she's getting pissed off at someone, it's just gonna feel more like a kid's temper tantrum rather than an actual kind of issue.
Yeah.
Because there's gonna be
I do
some
kind of get that vibe too.
grumpy
Yeah.
issues that she's gonna have to unleash on camera. So
Well, and maybe we get to see a little bit. Maybe this is like, okay, she's at this point she's acting, right? She's acting tough, but maybe it's a maturity along the line type thing. Like she'll age as we go
yeah.
type stuff. Maybe, I don't know.
No,
But you're right, it
acting-wise,
is
I
a bit
agree. I think
interesting.
she's doing quite well. There was one scene where her and Dina were sitting on their horses looking at the bear, and then the rest of the
Mm.
people come clip clopping over.
Yep.
And then they have like that silly little banter that they have in all Naughty Dog games, where it's like, oh, they're coming over here. Oh, look who's here
Yep.
now. Look who finally showed up.
Yeah. Look who
As we were
finally showed
watching
up.
that, Reva was like, man, that scene. She's like, it felt so natural. Like, it's just like such an obvious thing to do. Like, you would be trash talking them as they're coming up because you don't like them, and you're a kid, so you're pissed off at everything. So
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
cleverly done, and I think those two are good together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely good chemistry between the two.
Yes.
It seems very natural. Yeah, so many. Yeah. Oh man, I just wish. I mean, I understand. I'm great. I'm happy it's week by week. It's great, but man, I almost wish I had 2 episodes off the rip. You know, I know that's a selfish thing to say, but I wish we had 2 episodes off the rip just to kind of like
I know.
figure out the pacing of all this.
If you were wondering about ages, because who isn't?
Yeah,
Bella
who
Ramsey's
isn't?
21.
Yep.
Her Dina is 23, so pretty darn close there. And
Yeah.
then Abby is 28, which is interesting
Yeah.
because I imagined her being maybe a little bit older in the game. But yeah,
Yeah, no, I don't think she is. I think again, it's her physical appearance. I think that ages her a lot.
fair.
Yeah, I think you kind of know, based on stuff that happened, that she's of a certain age when you play the game. But yeah, it is. Like I'm happy. We'll see how it all plays out. I'm curious if they're. My thing is, I'm just curious if they're going to take any liberties with the characters based on the changes, very different changes of the characters. So, being smaller, being less muscular,
Oh, can I
stuff like
don't
that.
here. I'm gonna send this to you guys somewhere.
Okay.
It is a Reddit post because all good information comes from Reddit.
The
Of
best.
course.
There it is.
Only the best information.
So on stream, it's a picture of Abby when she's standing by the grave, so she's rocking a t-shirt. And the person
Okay.
says, I'm mostly disappointed with Abby not showing a single hint of muscle.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
was reading that just
Yeah.
earlier.
But then the first comment, the person says, they said, OMG, she really does look like the grown-up Ellie here in this picture. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's interesting because if that was Ellie, I'd be like, yeah, I get that. Because it
The-
does look like her.
Yeah. The funny thing is with this is I remember this was actually like she was actually
Cast as Ellie, wasn't she?
no, she
Was it
wasn't
Sue?
cast
She was
as
someone
Ellie, but
saying.
a lot of fans, there was a large amount of people that thought like, hey, she would fit that role naturally because she looks so much like it.
Right.
She's small and she already naturally, like if you watch Last Man Standing, she's very like whippy when she talks. Like her characters, all the characters she's played are very like they have one line clapbacks at everything. She's just kind of had that natural sort of, I'll call it aura or whatever about her.
Nice.
Yeah, nice, right? And so it is interesting that she ends up in this position, but you're right, that picture makes her like, honestly, when I saw that when they zoomed in, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see Abby in this too, but you're right, the lack of just sheer muscularity is
Yeah, she looks like a version of Ellie for sure.
yeah, for sure. No, for sure. But, it is what it is. I guess this is part of going along for the ride, eh?
Yeah,
So,
and that's the thing. Like with physical differences, like it's pretty easy to look past people a couple episodes in when they're acting in the role that they should be. So as long as you're
yeah,
playing the part, which
playing the part well.
yeah,
Okay, let's get to review. Score.
Mm.
Did I change background? Yes, I did. Oh, nice.
whoa,
Again, I have it all up there. 1 through 7. We will slowly fill this out.
you have ours from last year.
It's the same rectangles.
But do you have our scores from last year, or did you delete them?
I still have them somewhere.
Okay,
Well, let me see how this is gonna interrupt that, but that's fine.
I know my score.
Like what you let's see here. Hold on. I'm curious. You want to know like your average scores, what you were given stuff?
I'm kind of curious.
Okay, let me see if I still have it here.
While you're searching, shall I say my score?
Start defending it. Do it.
Okay. I thought about this for minutes.
Hours.
Minutes. Yeah.
And I am giving it a score of 7.
Ooh. Yeah.
Oh.
I honestly, I'm a hard critic when it always comes like season 2, episode 1 is always just welcome back to the world, and it rarely does anything mind blowing. I think that this episode was by no means a bad one because again, it's just going to be character building and world building and all that stuff. You're having to introduce an entire town and a 5-year relationship that we missed out on
Yeah.
between Ellie and what's his face, Joel.
You've
Yeah.
lost us on the cameras, by the way.
No, I did that on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
But I don't
Getting
know.
back just in time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, not to interrupt you, but
But I don't know
Poco's
if
flipping off everybody.
if it did anything that I was like, wow, that's incredible, or wow, that's cool. Like everything I watched, I compared it to The Walking Dead. Like it feels very Walking Dead-y, and you always try to get rid of it, but zombies are advancing and changing a bit. Neat.
Yeah.
She's still pissed off. And
Yep.
it's just yeah, I don't think it really did enough to be an earth-shattering episode.
Yep.
So the IMDb average rating is 7.8, and I'm gonna go with a 7.
Oh boy. Oh, here comes the hate
You heard
from
it here.
all of the faithful.
Yeah.
I tried to post the score. I don't know if it went on there, but I can't disturb my one screen because it's capturing you guys. So I can list off your scores. Ostrich. So we started episode 3. 3 you gave a 10. 4 you gave a 7.5. Then a 9.5. Then an 8. Then a 6.5. Then a 9.
Oh, 6.5. Which one is that? Was
Yeah,
that
what
the
happened?
stupid relationship throwback one?
Oh, maybe. I gave that one an 8.5, so no big
4.
deal.
Just better.
Yeah, just better. I kept pumping the yeah. And then Poka, you gave starting episode 3, 9.5, and then a 7, then an 8.5, 8, 6, 7.5. So very much the same stuff.
Yeah.
I was definitely
6.
yeah, he gave a 6 to that one. I was
love
definitely the most generous. Although Ostrich is the only one who gave a 10, so
What did I get a 10 for? Which one is that?
that was the Bill episode.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
I gave 9.5, 7.5, 9, 9, 8.5, 9.5. So there you go. I wanted to post it, but it's just it's gonna disturb everything here.
Oh, that
So
Bill
Yeah.
episode is beautiful.
it's a good episode.
that was
Okay,
good.
so you said what, a 7?
I said a 7, and I'm sticking with it.
Poka, you want to go next?
Yeah. I was worried because I thought I was gonna go be low. And I
Oh.
was actually thinking 7 as well.
Don't ever be worried.
But yeah, just because I don't know, I feel like nothing really happened. But again, first episode of the new season. I wasn't expecting anything to happen, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So what was the number? Did I miss a number already?
Oh yeah, 7. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay, 7. So we got 2 7s on the board. Okay. Yeah, 100%. I get it. I am gonna go a little bit higher, I think, than both of you.
Oh,
Surprise,
big
surprise.
Surprise.
I'm gonna go up to an 8. Now I get it. It is the first episode of a series, and you're right. It is typically like, here, welcome back to this world. Let's update you on everything that's happened. I'm trying to put my mind into. I know it's tough, but I'm trying to put my mind kind of into someone who maybe hasn't seen this world before, because I think that's what they're playing it for a bit. Like I think this was meant, aimed a little bit towards the newbies, I think. As opposed to us, seasoned veterans who have played the game and know we don't need the recap. We know what's going on, right? But I think we got a tiny bit of action, which was great. They gave us the supermarket scene. They kind of updated the world. They kind of updated where Ellie's at. They kind of introduced these new characters, which I think is important from a lot of standpoints. But I think that's definitely showing them for what they are. This world, Jackson, we never got introduced to. Now we know, okay, we have construction going on here. It's growing rapidly. People obviously feel safe there. It's really isolate, but they do have all the amenities. I think it's just kind of a lot of world building, and I'm okay with world building. I am okay with that as long as it's not like, I don't think we dwelled on any one part too long. We didn't have a 20-minute, government scene where we're talking about what we're gonna do with these new clickers, and it didn't get bogged down. It was like, okay, here's what's happening, then this is happening, and then Ellie's angry, and now there's a therapist, and there's like this dynamic going on now, Joel and Ellie, and how could this happen? And so I think there was enough there to make me happy. Now, is this? I hope this isn't. This is not nearly a peak, but I think they did a good job of being the first episode and catching everybody up. Now, that being said, again, we have 7 episodes in this season. I don't need another season, or I don't need another episode of this. I don't need another episode of here's Jackson and everything happening in Jackson. I don't need another one of those. I need now pushing to the next phase, and I'm a little bit worried we're not going to get the pace right now that we might need.
And especially what you said about we don't want to see more of Jackson, or we can't see more of Jackson. Like, it's hard just because it's a it's a dystopian future. Like, there's nothing going on. Their only goal
Yeah.
is to survive and build a town.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not, if nothing insane is happening within the town, that means people are living, which is a nice thing.
Yeah, it's like it's functioning, which is
Yes.
boring,
yes,
right? And again, to say like this isn't a spoiler or anything, but in the games, like Jackson is the first hour of the game, and that you basically see it and that's it. Like it's not a large part of the game. There's
No.
part you're walking through it and stuff. You're doing that thing, and life moves on. But I feel like in this world, we're kind of fleshing out a little bit of Jackson for better or worse, as if we're gonna stay there a bit. I kind of got that feeling like, look, here's some little plans we're doing. Here's the water piping. Here's what's happening there. We need to build houses. It's like, oh, okay. I don't know if that's literally, what. So
I think that's what's going to happen.
you think that's what's going to happen? Sorry.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to be hanging out in Jackson for a little bit too much time.
Okay. I mean, and that is one thing I was definitely worried on, like for sure. I completely agree. Like, I don't need more recon and episodes and stuff. But again, like, and this is where it comes back full circle. I haven't given my score, and I'll do that. But leaving you guys on the edge here. But, like, it's one of those things where how do I put this? Like, it doesn't need to be this big, and I hope it's not. And I know we're leaning that way, and we both kind of all agree, like, man, we're gonna be in Jackson for a bit. Maybe they come up with some additional content. Maybe they come up with some stuff to kind of fill that story out. I think if they do, if we end up with like what I said before, if we end up with that event being the final thing,
Yeah.
I think we're looking at 3 seasons
Yeah.
of the second game.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
know they said 2, but I think then we are, unless the second season's like 15 episodes, which I don't see happening. I don't see that working out, and because we've basically made progress in the first 3 hours of the game of the whole season. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm curious if they are going to stay in Jackson.
Yeah.
If they're going to treat some of their going out adventures, like their patrol stuff, I wonder if they're going to grab certain parts of the game and plunk them into some of the patrol things that end up doing, like some of the things that they find, whether it be the weed farmer or things like that. Like if they're just going to kind of plunk that in, or if Ellie is going to go off on her own for a bit and again experience some of those things from the game and then come back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could be. I hope they don't get that wild with it. But so my score for this one, I'm gonna put it at an 8. I don't think I said that before. I am gonna put it at an 8. I think they did the best with what they could do. Could have been better always. Yeah, first episode's always like you said, I agree with everything you guys said about first episodes. I don't know if I've ever had a first episode, maybe other than Breaking Bad, where I was like,
my goodness,
like on edge and being like, okay, we're back in it. The first season is definitely, as you described, it's definitely setting the stage. We're moving chess pieces, we're updating chess pieces so that we can slowly start knocking them over at some point.
Yeah.
So we have 2 7s and an 8.
I just think tease it a little bit more. Tease the future a little bit. Like all the foreshadowy things are things that we would expect. Like,
Yeah.
sure, Abby's getting closer. She found Jackson. We figured she would. There's
Yeah.
some little tentacly things in the sewer that are inevitably going to affect them in some way. But
Yeah.
I think just like I don't even know how you go about teasing it more. I don't know. As Severance, they freaking foreshadow everything and then give no
Yeah.
result until the very end, which is
Exactly.
maybe worse. But
I don't mind. Like it's just yeah. You gotta. I guess pacing is how much can you give away at once, right?
yeah,
The tentacles. It's interesting to see when that inevitable attack or whatever the heck is going on is going to happen.
is anything
It might be interesting to say too. Like, what is it possible that some characters get removed from that attack? Meaning, like, get attacked, people die. Is it possible that things happen there that don't happen in the game? Maybe we lose characters earlier.
in the game, and I'm not sure if we can talk about it. Is there an attack that sets things in place?
Yeah, but it's when they're out on patrol.
Okay.
But maybe that happens at Jackson. That's what I was saying. Maybe instead of being out on patrol, it happens right in the town, and these people are just let in because they're letting everybody in, and things happen from the inside out. Maybe, who knows? Like, it's a potential. But yeah, is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we kind of call it there? Nothing else we missed? All right.
Man, I'm surprised we talked as much as we did.
We did. We didn't think we had anything. This is scary. If this is nothing, we're going to have problems and there is something. All right. Perfect. From there, I mean, check out both these guys. You can see their Twitch handles there. You can see where to find them. We got Poka over there. We got Ostrichwrangler on Twitch.
There is something. My camera looks like I'm a psycho.
You are kind of a
You're not psycho. You're just paranoid. You're just paranoid. You got Ostrich, you got Poka. Go check them out.
I don't do anything.
I don't do anything. Yeah. I mean, I barely stream consistently now, but now I'm back. Check out the YouTube. This will all be posted there. We'll do this weekly. We're doing this weekly. And if you really love it and maybe you guys show, a crazy amount of interest in it, maybe we can get them doing a few other shows too or something weird or movies or something.
Yeah.
Who knows? Or some hybrid version thereof.
Man, if you give me a Bitcoin, I'll do anything. Just
a bit. Oh, damn.
for people in the crowd.
Bitcoin?
Who's in
Bitcoin.
I'll take a third. Who's left?
No, you don't get a third. I get the whole Bitcoin and I'll distribute it as appropriate. Okay, boys? Like what I'm saying? All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Take care. We'll catch you guys back here next week.